Now let's talk about waiting on God. In fact, patience. Uh, Trusting God, trusting His timing in prayer. That's a difficult one, especially when you are young. I will share my personal part of my personal testimony. Uh, I finished my university studies and with a master's, and then was looking for a job. That was something like close to 30 years ago. And in a context where finding a job was not easy, and it's even more difficult, I know today. And I'm praying for those of you who are watching and who are searching for a job, that the Lord may open doors for you. Because I know what it is to not find employment, to not find a job after you finish universities. It happened to me. I was in my mid-20s and finished with my degree and couldn't find a job. And that was the same time when I was born again, came to know Christ and changed my life. And so I was looking for a job. At the same time, I was focused on my spiritual life. And every day I was praying, and Fridays fasting, and then going out with my documents, going into offices and leaving there my resume. And I was doing it, and I did it for 1 year. And I was praying every day. So I can understand. And sometimes I was frustrated. Sometimes I thought, but God, I gave my life to you. I thought it would be easy. I thought that you would favor me. I didn't understand, And that's the questions maybe you're asking yourself. Why is it that God is not opening doors for me? So is it just worthy just to follow Him if He's not blessing me? Yeah, we have those questions, and which are normal questions. They are not right questions, but they are normal questions. So I was there, and God came in an unexpected way, and very unexpected way. Then I found myself walking in the street, and I saw a sign. It was a flag, and I recognized the flag because the logo. I remember a friend of mine gave me his business card, her business card, and that was the same logo. So I said, oh, so she works here. So I went there and talked to her and asked her what they were doing. It was a UN company, agency. And then I said, if you need translators, and she said, okay. Then she said, all right, I will just let you know. Then I went, and when I arrived home, she called me, say, by the way, there is a position they're looking for. To make a story short, the day I received their call for the interview, the same day, in fact, I received 2 calls for 2 interviews, the same day. So the week after, I had the opportunity to go to interview to 2 different places. Great jobs. And that's how God answered. But He did it 1 year after, okay? But the problem is, what happens during that time? How do you deal with patience? How do you deal with waiting on God's response? I will just encourage you to read the first book of Samuel, the history of Samuel's mother, Hannah. Hannah, for me, is one of the examples of waiting on God. Some key lessons that we can learn from Hannah is that the Bible says her husband had 2 wives, her and another one. And the other one was mocking her because she didn't have children. So the Bible said that Hannah was in bitterness of soul and prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. So she was bitter. She was in anguish for years. And sometimes that's where you are bitter, But then the Bible says she went to Shiloh, and then when she was there and she was praying, and she was sitting on the seat by the doorpost of the tabernacle, and she was in bitterness of soul and prayed to the Lord and wept in anguish. Then she made a vow. While she was in bitterness, while she was in anguish, she said, "O Lord of hosts, She in fact told to God, remember me and don't forget your maidservant, but will give me a male child. Then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall come upon his head. As you understand, she was praying to have a son, and that son will become Samuel. But the key thing is that while she was praying, the prophet Eli came and thought that she was drunk. You know the story. But she said, I'm not drunk. I'm a woman of sorrowful spirit. So she was sorrow. She had a lot of sorrow. She was waiting. She didn't see the response. She saw God responding to others, but she was not being responded. But the Bible says, when she said that, Eli said, go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition which you have asked of him. And she said, let your servant find favor in your sight. So the woman went away and ate, and her face was no longer sad. Her face was no longer sad. Did God answer to a question that day? We don't know. But she was convinced that God had answered that day to her question, to her search, to her desire. Because she made a vow. And her vow, if you see her vow, there is nothing selfish. It was such an unselfish prayer. So, and I will just advise you to read that prayer. It is in the first book of Samuel, chapter 1, verse 10 to 11. She made a prayer that was selfless. And God did what? God answered. God answered not just with one son, but God later gave her then more children. So what does it mean? Waiting is part of your making. Waiting is part of your making. When God makes you wait, He's making you. He's building you. He's training you. He's teaching you. He's molding you. He's making you into His likeness. And when you look out of where you are, that's when you're in trouble. So what to do when you wait? I pray that you don't get into bitterness. No. Always pray, Lord, I don't want to be bitter. Whatever is your situation, don't let bitterness, because bitterness, when it comes in, it destroys and it brings other friends who are worse than bitterness. Bitterness, because when you don't work, people don't consider you, so you feel rejected, you feel bitter, you feel a lot of things. But pray, God, keep me from bitterness. Pray for the Lord to give you the inner joy. And continue to search. Continue to search and ask God, Lord, show me how I should pray in a way that pleases you. So may the Lord bless you and help you as you search in this time of patience, in this time of trial, in this time of difficulty. May God keep your heart. Keep your heart. That's my prayer for you.